whether that person will have the imagination and support of people that will enable us to make any kinds of significant improvements in a system which everybody agrees is sort of out of control on cost, but they all think it's the other guy's fault generally. We'll find out. It won't be easy, but it is not the motivations are not primarily profit making. We want to deliver. We want our employees to get better medical service at a lower cost. We're certainly not going to come up with something where we think the service that they receive is inferior to what they're getting now. But we do think that there may be ways to make some significant changes that could have an effect, and we know that the resistance will be unbelievable. And if we fail, we've at least tried. But the idea is not that I will be able to contribute anything to, in some breakthrough moment by reading a few medical journals or something, changing something that is embedded as the medical system. But the idea is maybe the three organizations which employ over 1 million people and which, after we announced it, we had a flood of calls from people who wanted to join in, but there isn't anything to join into now. But they will if we have come up with any ideas that are useful. Whether we can bring the resources, bring the person, and the CEO is terribly important, and bring the person, support that person, and somehow figure out a better way for people to continue to receive better medical care in the United States without that 18% going to 20 or 22%, in the lifetime of, our children or something of the sort, because there are only 100 cents in the dollar, and we will see what happens. It's, if you were a Jeet actuarially figuring, you would not bet on us, but I think there is some chance we will do something. There's a chance, nobody can quantify it, that we can do something significant, and we are positioned better than most people to try, and we've certainly got the right partners, so we will give it a shot and see what happens. Charlie?
There is some precedent for success in this public service activity. If you go back many decades, John D. Rockefeller I, using his own money, made an enormous improvement in American medical care, perfectly enormous. In fact, there's never been any similar improvement done by any one man since that marvels it. So Warren, having imitated Rockefeller in one way, is just trying another, and maybe it'll work.
Rockefeller incidentally lived a very long time, so I'm trying to imitate him 3 ways there. We'll see what happens, but we're making a lot of progress, and I think we'll probably have a CEO within a couple of months. But if we don't have one, we're not going to pick somebody just because we want to meet any deadline or anything like that. We've got these wonderful partners. We don't have a partnership agreement among us. Somebody started drawing up one in the legal department, and the CEO just put a stop to it. I mean, you do have places that have a lot of resources, and while we all have our share of bureaucracy, we can cut through it if we've got something that we really think makes sense. And we will get the support. We'll get a lot of resistance too, but we will get the support of a lot of American business if we can come up with something that makes sense. But if it was easy, it would have already been done. There's no question about that.
It's not easy.
No. But it should be tried. Okay. Becky?
This question comes from David Rolfe, who is with Wedgwood Partners and the company has been shareholders in Berkshire since 1989. The stock is currently the largest holding in their stocks, 18 stocks. He asks this question: Over the past 2 years, you have listed the individual fund-to-funds performance from protege partners. When will you start showing the annual performance on $25 billion that Ted and Todd manage? Can you state if either Ted or Todd has beaten the S&P 500 index over the last 5 years?
Yeah. Both. We'll probably never report their individual performance, but you can be sure that I have an enormous interest in, as does Charlie, in how much we think they contribute to Berkshire, and they've been terrific. They not only have the intellect and the record, but they are exceptional human beings, and Todd has done a tremendous amount of work, for example, on the medical project, and Ted is. I've given him several things, and he's done them better than I can do them. So the record since inception, and I'm measuring it. Ted came later than Todd, a year or so later. But the record since inception is almost identical, both for the two managers from their different inceptions, and matching the S&P. And they've received some incentive compensation, which they only get if they beat the S&P. And as I say, they're just slightly ahead. That really hasn't. It's been better than I've done, so naturally I can't criticize it. They were two very, very, very good choices. Charlie?
You did report it in a previous year. You just didn't do it this year. But now you have your report.
No. No. Well, I would. The problem that all of us has is size. It's harder to run even $12 or $13 billion, frankly, than it is to run $1 billion. And if you're running $1 million or something of the sort, it's a whole different game. You'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Charlie?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Just like any good lawyer, you never ask them a question unless you think you know the answer they're going to give. Okay, Gary.
My question's on Geico. Last year you promised growth and delivered. But along the way, the combined ratio was moving up, and it was the first time it was over 100 in about 15 years. Granted, some of that was catastrophes, but even excluding catastrophes, there was something going on in the loss trends that caused you to slow down that growth, at least as we got to the latter part of the year. And I wondered if you could tell us what was going on. And I did look this morning, too, so it looked like the first quarter settled down a little bit, but I'd still like to know about the fourth quarter.
Yeah, sure. The only thing I differ with the question on slightly, when you say it caused us to slow down, we didn't want to slow down the growth. I mean, you're looking at a guy here that has never wanted to slow down the growth at Geico. The growth did slow down, but it wasn't because we wanted it to. Our prices that led to the underwriting loss, we'd have been slightly in the black without the catastrophes, but if we hadn't have paid our light bills, we might have been in the black too. I mean, this except for stuff doesn't mean much in insurance, as far as I'm concerned. If you look at the first quarter, our margins were around 7%, which is actually a little more than we aimed for. And I've received the the preliminary figures for April, and they're similar. So the underwriting gain or margins are perfectly satisfactory now, and we'd love to get all the growth we can, and we will gain market share this year, and we gained market share. When Tony took over the place, in 1993, it was 2 and a very small fraction percent. and it'll be 13% of the 13% of the households in the country now, and we will keep gaining share